Hello, a very good evening. Welcome to News Focus tonight on your Mega TV MBN, Mega Broadcasting Network. And we coming to you live today being a Wednesday, the midweek edition of the show. We give you the opportunity for you to also call in, word in, talk to us, share your thoughts with us, and also give us your input in any of the stories. Remember, our phone numbers will be displayed on the screen and we expect you to also join it. So, we'll look at the top national stories, the headlines that is making waves today. The headlines that are making waves today in the country, we'll look at all those stories. But in the meantime, let me welcome my viewers. So I say very good evening and welcome to the News Focus tonight, your trusted source of credible, timely, and in-depth news across Ghana and beyond. I'm your host, El Samuels, and tonight we bring you the latest national stories making headlines, from development in the economy and governance to pressing social issues affecting everyday Ghanaian. Stay with us as we break down the facts and provide context and ask the tough questions that matters to you. This is News Focus tonight, where the news meets insight. The numbers on the screen is the numbers you can also call us. Share your thoughts with us on 053-715-8638. And I want to say welcome. Big national issue, top stories, our headlines. Government responds to growing concerns over the rising cost of living. New development in the energy sector amidst global attention. Update on cocoa pricing and its impact on farmers nationwide. Transport unions react to recent fuel prices adjustment. Security agencies intensified efforts to maintain law and order, and education stakeholders weigh in on policies affecting students and schools. The question tonight is, do you feel the current economic measures are easing the burden on Ghanaians? What more should government do to stabilize the fuel prices? Are cocoa farmers receiving fair value for their produce? Today, how are rising costs affecting your daily life and your business? Do you think current policies are addressing youth unemployment effectively? And what is your take on the state of security in the community where you find yourself in? So those are some of the stories we're looking at. Government officials have acknowledged growing public concerns over the high cost of living, particularly food prices, rent, and transportation. Authority says interventions such as targeted subsidies, tax adjustment, and social support programs are being considered to ease the burden. However, many Ghanaians says the impact is yet to be felt at a household level. Amidst global geopolitical tension affecting fuel supply chain, Ghana continues to experience fluctuation in the fuel prices. The Ministry of Energy is exploring alternative supply sources and strengthening local refining capacities to stabilize prices. Experts warn that external shocks would continue to influence the market in the short term. Cocoa farmers are raising concerns about producer prices, arguing they do not reflect current global market trends. While government has announced adjustment in producer prices over time, farmers are raising input costs. Fertilizer, labor, and transportation are eroding their profit, threatening productivity in the cocoa sector. Transport operators across the country are pushing for fair increases following recent fuel price hikes. Union leaders argue that operational costs have surged, making current fares unattainable. Sustainable is a big question out there. Commuters, however, fear further increases will deepen economic strains on households. Security agencies have intensified patrols and operations in parts of the country to maintain law and order. This comes amidst concerns over isolated incidents of crime and public safety. Authorities are urging citizens to cooperate and provide timely information to help curb the criminal activities. Teacher, parents, and education experts are weighing in on policies affecting the sector, including funding, infrastructure, and examination processes. Concerns have been raised about overcrowded classroom resource constraint and the need for reforms to improve quality education outcomes. These are some of the latest stories, top headlines across the country today. Now, moving on, at the One Summit, which was held in Lyon. Remember, the One Summit was held in Lyon, where the President John Dramani Mahama was in attendance. Also, to air his view, remember, don't forget, he's the topmost man handling issues when it comes to health. One held the Accra Reset. I remember most of you remember Accra Reset. That's the brainchild of the President John Dramani Mahama. So we'll be heading to Lyon tonight. Get to take a listen and a watch when the gathering of the people was done. The One Health Summit 2026 is currently underway in Lyon, France, with the President John Dramani Mahama co-chairing the event alongside the French President Emmanuel Macron. The summit brings together global leaders, the health ministers, experts to address pressing issues like pandemic preparedness, sustainable food production, and environmental health. The President emphasized the need for urgent and equitable global action on rising health threats, citing climate change, disease, and inequality as interconnected challenges. He urged leaders to move from commitment to practical solution, highlighting Ghana's experience with environmental degradation, illegal mining, and disease threatening to cocoa farmers. The summit aims to endorse a political declaration on strengthening international health cooperation and adopt a joint political declaration to boost cooperation. The President Mahama's participation underscores Ghana's growing influence in the global health diplomacy. Let's take a listen to the President of the Republic in faraway Lyon in France.
Excellency, President of the French Republic, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, Director General of the World Health Organization, Mr. Ku Dong-yu, Director General of the Food and Agricultural Organization, and let me just say, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. To the government of the French Republic for convening this important summit here in Lyon, and to the quadripartite organizations for their continued leadership in advancing the One Health agenda globally. Thanks, Mr. President, for the honor of co-chairing this summit, and also thanks for the comprehensive introduction you have given. You really have set the tone for this meeting. We're living in truly interesting times, and much of what we previously took for granted is now being questioned. And our old answers have now become the new questions. To be honest, these shifts and cracks in world affairs are not limited to global health. They have spread across every corner of our shared global identity. But health, and global health in particular, is where things have come to a head. Around the world, we are facing an overwhelming surge of health threats across borders. Every species is in the crosshairs: animals, humans, and plants. And the environmental catastrophe confronting us is in the waves of the sea, it's in the glaciers, it's in the rainforests, it's in the desert storms. In my own country of Ghana, a blight of disease and pests affects smallholder cocoa farmers, threatening millions of households. Illegal gold mining leads to forest degradation and pollution of our water bodies, threatening the survival of precious populations of birds and insects critical to our biodiversity. At the foundation of all these crises is the phenomenon of climate change. And yes, we realize that everything is interconnected. From the outbreak of infectious diseases to antimicrobial resistance, and from climate-related disruptions to food systems, all these risks converge and intensify in frequency, complexity, and severity than at any time in human history. The One Health approach is thus a practical matter for us in Africa. We've traditionally lived our lives in lockstep with nature. We're an integral part of nature. Still, more than 50% of our population rely on herbs and other natural forest resources for their medicines. Our rich cultural heritage stands as a testament to the wisdom of an integrated approach to healthcare. Long before the coinage of One Health innovations, our ancestors had over the centuries mastered the use of plant-based therapies for animal healing, which in turn protected human health. In Africa, our lived experience leads us to accept without question that human survival, animal well-being, and plant health and environmental care form a single interconnected system. This system also integrates prevention, early detection, and swift response into a comprehensive whole that improves downstream medical care. We understand that our national development is rooted in resilient ecosystems and a strong public health system. Since the dawn of African civilization, from Songhai to Great Zimbabwe, from Timbuktu to Aksum, and to ancient Egypt, traditional knowledge incorporated systems for diagnosing and treating chronic ailments, for dealing with plagues and pests, and even the practice of terrace farming. This knowledge has always been with us. What has been needed in recent times has been for experience to intersect with it. Over the past decades, we have faced pandemics and plagues, from COVID-19 to Mpox, Lassa fever, and Marburg. Each crisis has highlighted the importance of the One Health approach. We must reclaim our native practices and more actively draw on our heritage of integrated living across the continent. These public health emergencies have also taught us a simple truth, that prevention is not only more effective but also much more cost-effective than cure. And so in Ghana, our rollout of the Ghana Medical Trust Fund and our free primary health care programs are all new instruments to improve health outcomes for our population. These two programs will aim at lifestyle changes and preventive care, incorporating traditional knowledge. We must also take note of the changing disease burden in Africa, including the explosion of morbidity in non-communicable diseases. In Ghana, non-communicable diseases today account for 42% of all mortality. Infectious disease burdens also are changing, are varying, and so we must take note of all these. The drivers of today's health threats, from climate change and ecosystem degradation to species conflicts and loss of natural barriers, are reinforcing each other. Not to talk about plastic pollution, which is poisoning all our ecosystems. We must advance international action in dealing with plastic pollution. Regrettably, as I speak to you today, the countries that are most at risk have the least resources to cope. This must change. The world must face the stark and uncompromising fact that a healthy and thriving Africa is no threat to anyone. It will be a positive force for global progress. We must therefore ensure fair access to financing, technology, data, and innovation. We need to enhance research and knowledge sharing. Additionally, we must support countries in building resilient systems that can prevent, detect, and respond effectively. Although we have frequently discussed this, we have been slow in developing the necessary infrastructure for delivery. Let's muster the political will to integrate our fragmented regulatory environments and let Lyon be the turning point. Today, however, I wish to make 3 calls to action, and I hope we can all commit to these immediately. First, let us shift from commitment to action. The period of declarations must come to an end. The moment for coordinated effort is here, and let us start from Lyon. Let us connect our One Health strategies for our national development agendas to a new global framework for public health. The international security agenda must fully adopt this approach as a key element of sustainable development worldwide. And thirdly,
so that was the President John Dramani Mahama at Lyon on the One Health Summit at the offices of the French President Emmanuel Macron. So the President is also there as a co-chair for this year. Away from the One Health program in Lyon, let's come back home. This time around, we go to the Eastern region, precisely Ebri Girls Senior High School, facing a severe water crisis leading to locked toilet facility and raising serious health concern among students and parents. The school's management had to shut down the toilet due to persistent water shortages, forcing students to adopt extreme coping mechanisms, including fasting to avoid using the facility. And this has resulted in reported cases of urinary tract infection, UTIs, and other health issues. The situation has sparked outrage among parents who are calling for immediate intervention from the Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education. Education Minister Haruna Iddrisu has assured the public the government is taking swift action to address the issue, citing plans to allocate funds to support emergency repairs and infrastructure development in school. Remember, in July 2024, an ultra-modern 14-seater toilet facility was inaugurated at the school, but it has remained unusable due to water shortage. The National Lottery Authority, a Good Causes Foundation, has also commissioned a new toilet facility with borehole water facility in March 2026, but its impact on the current crisis is unclear. Let's take a listen to the Sector Minister of Education, Haruna Iddrisu.
My attention has just been drawn to the developments at Ebri Girls Senior High School, which is of concern to government and the GES. We will work to remedy it as soon as possible. The school itself, management of the school itself have taken some measures. There were two of those toilet facilities. One have been fixed, one is in the process of being repaired, and the repair work will be completed by the weekend. But it's largely exaggerated, if I'm permitted to say so. I've spoken to the headmistress, Obobia Atakura, and the situation is under control. What we are seeking to do as government, I have said that it's been a challenge for past ministers of education, Director General of GES. Nobody has a budget for contingency. So myself and the Honorable Minister for Finance, Atu Forson, agreed that we dedicate 2% of the GET Fund formula to respond to such national emergencies, like if there is a storm, a fire break, girls' dormitory burned, storm taking off the roof of the school. So we would make some requests to the GET Fund for the release of that money, and then we'll channel it to the GES to deal appropriately with the problem in the Ebri Girls. But I can say that is largely exaggerated. The situation is not as bad. And as I'm speaking to you, we have just given Ebri Girls, Holy Child, St. Xavier, the Assisi and Pana some new ICT facilities for girls, which has toilet facilities in it. But that's just about projects which is yet to take off. And I'm saying that my attention has been drawn to it. The Director General of GES and his management will move to remedy the situation. By the end of this week, the temporary crisis will be resolved. But there is a larger crisis across the country. Education infrastructure is in dire state, very poor state, and we have to work to fix it. I have presented a cabinet paper on the situation for the attention of the President. We need to do more. You can just reference even the building that collapsed recently around Kokomlemle New Town. Our basic secondary education infrastructure is not in the best of shapes.
Okay.
We'll do our best. I would get the Director General of the GS and management to move in, and then we mobilize resources to see how we support the institution to fix it.
Okay.
Legitimately, parents are concerned, students are concerned. It can affect and impact negatively on their academic life and work, and we are mindful of that, Winston. The tablets are being distributed around the country. I've asked the GS and the internal audit to do an audit. What has been sent to which school, how much, how is this being utilized, which category of students are unable to access it, and then we've asked the vendor to increase as we make some commitment of payment to get the releases of those that are to be installed. I'm aware that it's been distributed widely across the country. I spoke to the president of CHAS and he said that they were in receipt of it. I even asked him to update me on the quantities that have been received. I'm setting up a technical committee to monitor that this year. So it will not just be one individual or just two persons. There will be a technical committee. CHAS will have representation, parents will have representation to track and monitor. But we are still dealing with the symptoms of a national problem. Infrastructure across the country did not match the introduction of the pre-senior high school. We witnessed exponential increase in the numbers over the period in the last decade. Yet, for many of those schools, not a single classroom or dormitory was built. If you had a population of 1,400, now 3,500, what do you expect? There will be congestion, there will be overcrowding. Thankfully, as I mentioned, we've gotten $300 million from the World Bank. Takeoff should be from July for infrastructure so that we can convert a number of categories C to B and then B to A. But we legitimately should also seek to expand infrastructure in the category A school, which is the desire of many parents and students. I want to be able to win my seat and win handsomely. I have to support government, and we've mentioned it to President Mahama. There is the initiative of Tamale Damangu Yendi Water. I'm aware that the EU was committing $300 million for it. It's currently receiving the attention of the Honorable Minister of Finance, subject to limitations of borrowing of the IMF constraint. We should get it done. It's a major headache for me and all the leadership from Tamale. We are sleepless because our people cannot access quality drinking water. The facility which was built in Dalong, population have outgrown it, and it needs to be fixed and fixed much more urgently. So we will do our best. In fact, currently you can imagine that I'm desalting 3 dams yesterday to today. It's a shame. I can't even get them pipe drinking water. Even dam water, access to dam water is a challenge for many rural communities in Tamale. Currently, we've done Troya Parasi, we are at Dungu, and we move to Foshago just to give them access to water. So it's a major constraint that I'm aware of. Government will fix it.
Well, so that's the Education Sector Minister Haruna Idris to train more light as to plans and what government is seeking to do when it comes to expansion, infrastructure across all the major school facilities. Away from the education sector, let's go straight to the Methodist Bishop of Ghana, Professor Kwabena Asamoah Jedu, has criticized Felix Kwakye Ofosu, the Minister of State in charge of government communication, for stating that LGBTQ+ issues are not a priority for Ghanaians. The bishop accused Kwakye Ofosu of belittling the intelligence of Ghanaians, saying, "Don't belittle everyone's intelligence, please be serious." Kwakye Ofosu has argued that government is focused on key socio-economic concerns such as job creation, education, healthcare, and food security, rather than the LGBTQ+ debate. He emphasized that most Ghanaians are focused on their daily needs and livelihood. The controversy surrounding the President John Dramani Mahama stand on the anti-LGBTQ+ bill, with opposition MPP accusing him of flip-flopping on the issue. Kwakye Ofosu defended Mahama, saying the government is prioritizing welfare of Ghanaians. But the Bishop of the Methodist Church of Ghana, Professor Kwabena Asamoah Jedu, say things otherwise. Let's take a listen to Felix and what he said Ghanaians are saying. Is it that really all Ghanaians are saying that, or is belittling the Ghanaian? Let's take a listen to him.
That bill is, I'm a member of parliament. So I know that the executive cannot tell parliament what timelines to use. It doesn't happen. Our constitution bars that from happening.
Okay.
So one of the things at committee level, parliament will work on it. There are many bills that are pending in parliament that I speak to you. Nobody can accuse parliament of deliberately wasting time because I have to go through the process. But I'm saying that all of this would have been avoided if Haruna and his party were committed to getting that bill passed. And if President Akufo-Addo had signed that bill, if they had not instigated elements to go and purport to file a case to frustrate the process, and the speed with which they caused that bill to be brought back to Parliament, and even added threatening language, telling Parliament never to bring that bill again, is that the posture of a party and government that was willing to sign this bill? They were not. But we in the NDC are committed to doing so. President Mahama has said it time and again. If it lands on his desk today, he will sign it today. That is where we are. The NPP, they specialize in wasting the time of everybody. Carlos, when you woke up this morning, is the first thing that mattered to you LGBT? Was it not about how you are going to live your life today, how you are going to find food to eat, how you will come to work, how to earn a salary, and how to make sure that ends meet? When you come to Ghana today and you list the issues that affect people, is that bill a number one priority of every Ghanaian? It is not. It has not. That it is not something that will affect when the time comes. That is what the president said. The president spoke with voices. And Carlos, you have the tape of the president when he went to Philadelphia. Indeed, that is the place where he made that statement. In his interactions with the CSOs, he only referenced that statement he had made. That the West and other partners continue to have pressure for this to be done. And he says that as a country, the things that matter the most are the issues that affect the well-being of the Ghanaian. And how does the president saying this mean that LGBT is not important? Which president swears an oath to become president, and the thing that matters to him the most is LGBT? Is it not about the welfare of ordinary people? How to make sure that education is properly financed? How to make sure that health is properly financed? How to deliver good roads? How to ensure that security is top-notch? How to ensure that electricity, water, job creation for the teeny youth who are unemployed? How can anybody see that these matters are not important? And that if a president says these are his priorities, then he has to treat anybody. It simply does not make sense.
Someone who asks, which one you dare? So LGBTQ plus. Felix Kwasi says, it's not Ghanaians' priority. The presidency is not our priority, and everybody's thinking about how to make economic gains, not LGBTQ. Was asking that question, but the Catholic bishop felt, you can't belittle the Ghanaian. Are the Ghanaian being belittled, according to what, if you take a listen to Felix Kwasi? Well, away from the LGBTQ, let's do some cocoa matters, where the minority in parliament led by the chief whip, Frank Anno-Domprey, is considering petitioning the Asantehene Otumfuo to the second over the government decision to reduce cocoa prices. This move follows a tour of cocoa growing communities in the Ahafo region, where farmers express deep frustration over price cuts, payment delays affecting their livelihoods. Anno-Domprey criticized government handling of the cocoa sector, warning that continued neglect would harm Ghana's economy given cocoa's importance to export earnings. The minority vowed to sustain the pressure on authorities to review the pricing decision and may consider further action if necessary. Farmers in the affected areas describe the situation as increasingly difficult, citing financial constraint on supporting their families and also meeting educational expenses. The minority is urging farmers to hold the government accountable and demand better prices. So we go to the Bruno area, listen to the minority chief whip, Frank Anno-Domprey.
ye bida pedeno pe omampania owo experience pa in terms of public service e papa yi na so de odi ye koko ebuafo ya ka kire so sa papa yi dim no ye dim the sorry by
President Mama say yes no baby odi koko na kone de yes and one page of my yen and this I ask you man be yamobo was 1% grand be street children say baby adi afane de say bia na opese emra nkola no be me street children because say na baby school bia is kasem yes we niska what dey akwa no koko school wo ko tia school fees bia yes yen sign me high hostel ansana akola no etimi anya baby ada enti say no ama ya bo pisa ye wu
ma we ada yen beni abre pa anti akwanya manya we no Ghana mpanyimfo a mo Ghana ha mo kan san kire omampanyin mu ama ane na ndi si aban o ma ha akuafo wo sumi nsia nie na ekuoku aban ne ntoye bunya blekura na ye nyesika amfa ntomo na asa kokko bi enku amayema nti epe Ghana man achewo akuafo ebere wonti yesu.
So those are the stories from the Bono Ahafo when the minority chief whip when his team visited the cocoa farmers in that area. The number is 02053 715 8638 is the numbers. You can also add your voice and let's get to hear you. Let's have conversation tonight on News Focus tonight, live and direct from our studios on the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate, Nungwa Adogono. The phone line is activated, so let's get to hear you. 053-715-8638. We've spoken about cocoa, we've looking at the LGBTQ, we've also turned our attention to the One Health when the president is in Lyon. We're back in studios here. We've listened to Phyllis Kwachiofosu, the president, the minority chief whip. You've listened to the voices of some cocoa farmers as well as listening to the education minister, Haruna Idrisu, and all the top stories making headlines in the country. 053-715-8638 is the numbers. You can also join us. Let's get to hear you right away. The phone line is now duly activated. The questions still remain. The question we're asking is, do you feel the current economic measures are easing the burden on Ghanaians? What more should government do to stabilize the fuel prices? Cocoa farmers receiving fair value for their produce today? That's a question we're asking. And how are the rising costs affecting your daily life and businesses? Do you think current policies are addressing youth unemployment effectively? And what is your take on the state of security in your community? 0537-158638 is the numbers. 0537-158638 is the numbers. You can also have a conversation with her. Meanwhile, the former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, has been released from the U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement ICE custody on bail.
Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Your name, where your original is live from?
My name is Victoria.
Victoria, where are you watching us from?
Yeah, I'm watching.
Where are you? Are you in Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, Cape Coast?
Accra.
All right. Okay, let's hear you. Let's listen to you.
Please, can I speak free?
Speak tree and let's go. Katrini and Kawai.
Okay, yo. Me pachawo. Yo. Me pesa me kasafa kugwe kwa fono ho. Na, kama kote koko fono mwa. Omu ye dede no. Sebio. First, no so omu to koko a, omu de kwa Abidjan koton. So omu de kwa Abidjan koton. Neba. Some the Abidjan cotton. Now, I didn't say the woman Abidjan hobby or cotton or hobby. On another planner or honor, oh yes, son. 8 good years in me, I want better now, no son. So, how I wanted to Ghana post. Woman, I want me, many men this in you, some NPP news. In your CPP news. Number your for money years. Even Yawamu and Wombajaya, Womunjai, wɔn gya mfuturo na wɔn to gu nkurɔfoɔ anim no ɔno dɔmpɛ no ɔbɔ obi tuo wɔ nsa wɔm ɔde ahyɛ ne ho na ɔde nam hɔ eti no nso ne kakra mɛka ne sɛ wɔn gya nea wɔn yɛ no akuafo na wɔte hɔ no wɔnyɛ akuafo o wɔn ama wɔ 50 Ghana ɛna wɔn de si hɔ ɛna wɔn de yɛ nea wɔn de yɛ no.
All right.
Eti no wɔn gya nea wɔn yɛ no.
Yeah, that's it.
Wɔn gya koraa na nea no na bɛma nkurɔfo bɛto aba ama wɔn.
Okay, Omre Nayemre Dasi, thank you so much. 053-715-8638. 053-715-8638 is the numbers. 053-715-8638 is the numbers. You can also join us. Hello,
yes, sir.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Udin, where you calling us from?
My name is Saudou. I'm calling from Konono.
All right, let's hear you.
Oh, okay. All right. You see, Ghana politics, right? They are not speaking the truth. Yes, I quite remember that I think there was a 2014 I left for Accra to come and do Google Farm, right? And then every government can, oh, I will do this, I will do this. I think that was a good American, right? And they said that when you're a young guy, you have to do a farming, right? I've been a farm like 2014 up to now, right? I'm a young farmer. But I haven't seen anything different. Like when you're giving awards, I think maybe farmers awards, and then they say that, oh, I've seen a young guy, right? But this young guy try to do something. So let's applaud him. Always you see that those farmers who have something, and then you give farmers award. I can't remember that was 2019, and they said that I'm a best cassava farmer on a whole district. Do you know what they give it to? Radio, quality goods, and then pure water. And I said, and then some of certificates. And I said, so when you say that I'm a best cassava farmer, a young guy, I leave my job and I came to Konomo to farm, and then you go to give me.
Interestingly, some long story there, but make it snappy, 60 seconds. There you go. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Your name, where reaching us live from Udine Baby Alfrefi.
You friend me, I gave me a speaking.
Jay Kuyetio.
And I was our program, more efa apiafo no pre pepe nama entoye ema apiafo nti ebefre abanyan on hweso bitma yibi afafo was ya ofe apiafo tenye popo ma ya ye aburo ede banchi o de put so ayon to but apiafo dey say electricity bill if water bill fees the message no ye break the better about the way abano ya on share than on yama for them or meet my care emma ta dey personal big man one of the so our time at and ya tell man to say in fact more 5 days away from because they know your plan NDC MPP Intinya we and a Bema Patia by now to any Babonian, so we now and come together no more found the fact that and the Magana or now more years from years of the best by the
All right, yeah, that's say have a good evening there. 053-715-8638 your numbers. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, William.
Okay. I'm Matthew from Volta Region.
Okay, Matthew from Volta, let's hear you.
Yeah. Sir, I want to talk about the
please, I beg your pardon. We don't want Sodom and Gomorrah at Ghana. Some people need money seriously, and they can give themselves for that. But at the end of the day, God's wrath will be on all of us, like how it happened in, I don't know, I did not go to Israel before, but people who have been to Israel before, they have to make sure that all those things, the Bible, they go and verify that, is it true? Is it existing? Look, we are taking God for granted. We are taking God for granted. I'm afraid. Many are called, few are chosen. So that's the only thing that I can say. About the cocoa farm, the farmers themselves, how many of them been consuming the cocoa? You see? They stop paying it. Mahama to bring his own money to buy and increase the price for you. I beg, we need the development of the country. We should stop all those kind of things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All the way from the Volta region. 0537158638. When you call, please lower the volume on your TV set. And we have conversation on the phone. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Yetio Mbacho Udine Baby Alfrefi. Sohum, any a fro yao. Okay, yao yetio.
Yes, my I'm saying, oh, if I'm sorry. And then, yes, we are a sin, Ghana, and then she will have a from over market. It is a book from over market. Now, President of 2 months of Donna for this, Ghana Boca, in an about and then you are about in the year found job, Omnium, Bibian, obeying country on here, but Omnium mountain. Now, at the right time, the bigger body, and I near also be. Sir, a case 70 now. This is 60. And so, you get the 5 years. Then in the episode, now said, there was signs that day. Say, in Ghana, and then we have a party. At the Sunday, they create the map. They found of no years added.
Mr. Medasi, have a good night. 0537158638. And number sounds a bit to me. I'm Fred Enchibi. I'm Mr. Jumedi. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. All right, so Enchibia number is sorry, Jumediano. So the number is 0537158638. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening. Pacho Wudini Baby Alfrefi.
Good evening.
Good evening, Wudini Baby Alfrefi.
Yeah. I mean, you're coming back to the government.
Back with CHO.
Anyway, one can be the one for the year going on. Yeah, come up with anything, education there. You know, for and some of them do. And yet, I'm going to go what is mine. And I'm saying that for yet another in and seven NDC then the position 1 count of food. And the Muyan we are going to money Africa. You don't have to use a carbon bank that eating that some joint away back. When NDC was in position, then ban from joint one. It is something medium and I think also have to pray. Because we in small position of time. I think about I go to a country. Some just can be free. I not be the power. It's on children in 1,000 you. It's a very private. God is what you're about. Politicians, God is what you're about.
Yes, have a good night there. 0537158638 is the number. 0537158638 is the number. You can also join us. Let's have this conversation together. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Nyamia domo na onso e. Udine baby afrefi. We bachoma o TV no volume no enko from why. Okay. Solo etio. And share Darcy, have a good night there. I can do one single call and then we can wrap up in today's edition of the program. News Focus Tonight, live and direct from our studios here. Hello, good evening. Hello, sir, good evening. Hello, good evening. Yes, good evening. Udine baby of Refi.
Hello, yes.
Alaji.
Good evening.
Good evening, Alaji.
Yes, I'm Mabukali. Yes, sir. Good evening, I'm Mabukali.
Alaji, we are listening to you. You are my last caller, so let's go.
Okay. I'm to talk. Yes,
I think I've lost Alaji, and that is how we wrap up today's edition of the News Focus Tonight. God willing, if Christ tarry, we'll be back again to bring you. We want to say a big thank you to our viewers, to our callers, to our texters, to everybody that has made it possible for us to reach you wherever we are today. We are grateful. And that is it for tonight's edition of the News Focus Tonight. We appreciate you for staying with us and being part of the conversation. Remember, an informed citizen is key to building a stronger nation. Join us again tomorrow for more updates, deeper insights, as well as stories that matters to you. I'm your host, El Samuels, wishing you a peaceful and a restful night. Stay safe and stay informed. Good night.